Travis Wayne Goodsell. So, because this place is a environmental health hazard, I again got allergies from dog dander that came into the community room where I normally have been doing my videos for you guys on Friday, and so suffering over the weekend. And the best way to help me with this is to just get out of this building, and it'd be nice not to stay here, but and so I went to down the 13th East, and I should probably bring this up before I talk about Sandra, my visit with her. Mormons have a difficult time understanding that the church is responsible for me being here. They don't comprehend, or maybe they don't want to comprehend, how the church is directly responsible. Mormons obviously have not seen any of the Saw series. It's rated R. I can't tell jokes. Laughing's gonna make me cough. But the guy in there, he doesn't kill anybody. It's the traps that he sets up for the people. This shelter is that trap set up by the church. That's how the church is responsible. In the same way, the Saw guy is responsible for all the murders he's caused. So, yeah, ex-Mormons know what I'm talking about, don't you guys? You watch R-rated movies. When you got out of the church, that was the first thing you did, is you went to the video store and you bought a whole bunch, or rented a whole bunch of R-rated movies, right? My first R-rated movie in the theater, Keith Fenstermacher took me to see Platoon. Yep. So I was in Southern California. So he went off to move to Boise, Idaho. I wonder if he's still in the church or if he left too. So to get out of the house, I decided to try out the Super Walmart down at 13th at the ballpark. And as I was pulling in with the tracks, I remembered, oh yeah, the Tanners have their Utah Lighthouse Ministry and bookstore there. And so I was debating, should I go see her first, or should I go to Walmart first? And because I had plenty of time to stay out to try to get my breathing back, I decided to go to Walmart first. I was able to help contribute to Bruce Willis's hospital bills. In case you didn't know, he's retired from acting. He's got a brain disease or something like that that's made it so that he has to quit acting. And so he's had a whole ton of DVD, straight to DVD videos released. It's like one every week. And so I'm making sure to help him out, and so that he'll get the royalties for it to help cover the cost, because his work has been an excellent influence in my life as well. So yeah, and then got House. I've been wanting to get House. I watched all of House, but I needed to get House. So yeah, got that finally. And so then went over to Sandra's home / ministry / bookstore. And it was right at 10 when she opens. And it wasn't my intention to debate her on Joseph Smith, because if you know from my videos, I do actual research using forensic science in that forensic research, and have been using the Joseph Smith papers to help confirm what I've been coming up with. And as ex-Mormons, we should not be fighting amongst each other as to which truth, which is lame, Joseph Smith was adhering to. And so it frustrates me when I know people are wrong, when ex-Mormons are wrong, and they continue to spread those lies. Polygamy, translation, writing of the Book of Mormon even. I can't wait to be free. Shave off this beard. And then I don't know what I'm going to do about bathing. I'm going to have to scour my body in hot springs or something. That I do not like this, Sam. I am. They even served us green eggs one day and ham. Green eggs and ham. And I'm going, oh man, how does eggs turn green on its own? That was so disgusting. And it's church donated to the Utah Food Bank, and the Utah Food Bank donates to this place. So again, the church gave green eggs and ham to the shelter. So anyway, I'm not wanting to debate her or tell her she's wrong. I praised her for being the first to expose the church and release all of the original documents, and how interesting it is that the Joseph Smith papers are now being released after all the work that the Tanners had done and fought for. And so yeah, she noticed that too. And I also brought up the Church Handbook of Instructions, where they only published online a couple of the pages from it, and the church sued them to have them taken down. But another guy who posted the whole book online, they didn't even touch that guy. And so yeah, she was talking about how the church has learned their lesson not to sue them or put them in the spotlight by complaining, because that just made the Tanners more popular, and other critics as well. And so again, what's up with this? Why am I the one critical researcher whom the church is trying to have assassinated? What's up with that? And so, yeah, I even asked her, has the church even escalated to violence, or have they just been harassing? And she said they learned their lesson to leave us alone, because we just became more popular every time they harassed them. And I told her about how my first impact to them was Mormonism, Shadow or Reality, that was available at the library up when I went to school at the University of Lethbridge. I needed to have a critical point of view for a paper I was doing on the origin of the church in a class that Tom Robinson was teaching. And so yeah, I found that and was first influenced to it. And I remember buying the book and having to keep it a secret from Stephanie, the wife that I had at the time, as it's like, it's like satanic literature, and you don't want anybody to know that you're reading it in the church. But once you know how to learn, it's no big deal, It's the original documents, but yeah, the Tanners put put their annotation directly on those pages because they're a Christian church, and therefore Joseph Smith's not Christian. He's Jewish. And so, yeah, that bias and point of view sort of interfered with the main documents. But nonetheless, it's definitely one for everybody's ex-Mormon library. If you can't go through all of the Joseph Smith papers and copy and paste them, oh, what a task that is. Dear God, it took me forever. And so I brought up that I saw her in a video interview, and I did the video for that that I posted for you guys, where she says she doesn't believe that Sidney Rigdon wrote the book. And so I was trying to inquire from her more about why. What was her reasoning? Like, again, I didn't want to contradict her, and she was trying to ask questions for me to bring it out, and I was resisting. But yeah, she is unaware of the Joseph Smith papers, and when Gerald died, she had to now take over the full duties of both of them, and she was unable to do any research from there on out, as she was saying to me. And so she confessed that she hasn't even been able to get to the Joseph Smith papers, and so I can now see and understand she's making her conclusion based on what little information she did have, and acknowledges that there's more to do research on. But I tried telling her about Bruce R. McConkie changing the date for Section 10's heading, and she was trying to resist that, because it means, by changing it to 1829 as the Joseph Smith papers has it, it means Joseph Smith took 1.5 months to finish the Book of Mormon from where he left off when he was scolded for having handed him over to Martin Harris. And Bruce R. McConkie changed it, and so she wasn't quite sure on that. She just wanted to say, well, they're not in order anyway. But no, those were in order in the Joseph Smith papers. Those were part of the journal entries in a row. And so I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't gonna beat her down because she didn't acknowledge the Joseph Smith papers that she herself acknowledged she hadn't gotten to. That wouldn't have been nice of me, especially a true icon of ex-Mormonism. But I brought out the New Israelites and Joseph Smith Sr. Being the Jewish mystic of the New Israelites. And she didn't know about that. She knew about the New Israelites. She didn't realize they were Jewish mystics. And so she still clung to the belief that D. Michael Quinn did, and they had their version of that book too. So I made sure I bought her version of that today. When I saw that and asked her about it, she was saying she wasn't sure whether she came out before or after D. Michael Quinn's Mormonism and the Magic Worldview. But I got them both now. So the other D. Michael Quinn's book is being held captive, and I'm having to pay ransom money for him. So that's not cool. However, such is the way my life is. And so she also doesn't know about the linguistic research that's been done on the Book of Mormon. She knew about some guys back in the 80s who had done authorship of the Book of Mormon that espoused the Sidney Rigdon's story, but she didn't know about the actual linguistic research that gave a lecture with the Ex-Mormon Foundation. Authorship, Who Wrote the Book of Mormon, I think it's called, and it's segment number 4, part 4. They cut it up into 15-minute segments, approximately. And I've shown in previous videos the picture segment from that video, showing that Sidney Rigdon is the major author, Parley P. Pratt was involved, and Oliver Cowdery. I couldn't find Joseph Smith at all, and obviously the Bible. They did not do other contemporary works like the Late War. That was a computer software guy who identified that connection and discredited the View of the Hebrews. View of the Hebrews is not in the Book of Mormon. And I believe Sandra was, but that didn't come up in our conversation. I won't spend time looking for it. And so, yeah, there's some gaps in her premises, and that's why she leads to the conclusion that she does. She was indicating that Sidney Rigdon couldn't have done it, and she made the mistake of saying, why would he? No, that automatically is a confession of guilt, and it's normally done by apologists. But yeah, I don't think she's aware of Harmony north of Pittsburgh, because that's what I found. Is when I went to the map of Pennsylvania to look for the location of Harmony. Yes, there is the Harmony Susquehanna River, Pennsylvania. However, looking at the website for Harmony, Pennsylvania, they give us the history. And I've done the videos, and I did the actual research video with you, where the post office came in, was now going to deliver the mail there, and they had the name changed, because you can't have two in the same state. That screws up the post office. And so you guys do understand allergies for me is coughing. It triggers phlegm in the eyes, dominantly in this one. The back itches, and then, yeah, the mucus buildup in the nasal congestion and in the esophagus then result in the coughing. And until I can cough it all up and breathe normally, I'm going to be hating life until then. And so she's unaware that Sidney Rigdon was in Pittsburgh. He was not in Pittsburgh when Solomon Spaulding was. I didn't discuss it with her, but this is what she was, with what limited information she had, she couldn't see how he would. And she also fell for the trap that Mormons use as their excuse of why it's not him, is that, well, he didn't get baptized until December. Yeah, but who else was plagiarized in the Book of Mormon? Parley P. Pratt. Who was the first one to be introduced to the Book of Mormon? Parley P. Pratt. He then went back to the congregation. Then it gave the excuse, the cover story for Sidney Rigdon to come in. And so when you follow the money, he had to get paid if he was going to be writing the book. Yes, he was paid. Joseph Smith immediately put him to work on exactly the one thing that he left the Campbellites for, to do a revision of the Bible. And now he gets to speak on Sundays with a sacrament on Sundays. Exactly what he wanted. And so, yeah, and to be able to speak, etc. She didn't understand that he has a library. That's why he hung out at the print presses, is because he would buy or get books that were not published, and the print press can't publish them on their own, so they just have to throw them away or give them away. She didn't understand that part. And again, I wasn't going to bring it up and to argue or anything like that. I just wanted to learn what she knew. And so, yeah, Sidney Rigdon was there in Pittsburgh when the press had his manuscript after he died. And so it's nobody's confessing it, but the time frame fits. And so what you do for scientific research is you gather all what you do know as evidence, all the facts and all the evidence, and then you develop a theory, and then you need to test that theory for confirmation or rejection. If you get a new piece of information and plug it into your theory, and it blows away your theory, you need to dismiss your theory. You can't hold on to your theory and dismiss the new evidence. And so, knowing that information, as other ex-Mormons who believe, yeah, it's him because they were both in Pittsburgh, well, at different times. You need to know the different times of when he was in Pittsburgh. And then he came back to Pennsylvania, but was living in a different location. And you'll never guess where. And you'll never guess when. It was right next door to Harmony, Pennsylvania, north of Pittsburgh. At the time, Joseph Smith was there with Emma and working with Josiah Stoll, searching for money, and then got arrested or accused of glass looking. Went all the way over to Bainbridge, north of what used to be Harmony, because the website says it's no longer Harmony when the Smiths come to Palmyra. And so there's no way the Smiths would have known about that change. So, yay. This is not conducive for doing videos, guys. And so, yeah, Joseph Smith was there when Sidney Rigdon was right next door. And that ties them together. Because it's not until 9/11, 1826, when that whole incident in Canandaigua, New York occurred. Where, again, you have to look at all the facts, assemble them all together, and develop a theory from it. And what you have is William Morgan in Canandaigua rather than at his home in Batavia. And it's too far away. He can't just go travel to Canandaigua, have a beer, and then ride home. The distance is too long. That's why you need to check the maps when you're doing your research. And so, what's he doing in Canandaigua, writing his novel to warn America with in Canandaigua? What's going on in Canandaigua? Who's in Canandaigua at the lodge? Because he's a Freemason, and they have lodges. And so that's where he'd be writing. You can't write in a bar. And so who's the master mason of that lodge? Joseph Smith Sr. And so then you realize, wait a minute, he didn't finish, only had a certain number of pages written. He then disappears, manuscript disappears, and then a year later, Junior emerges. I'm getting the book written. Now, it's easy to see what's going on. She was unaware of Canandaigua, New York, even. I did bring up Canandaigua, New York. I didn't mention any further than William Morgan and Joseph Smith Sr. were there, and then I mentioned Heber C. Kimball claimed he was there, but he's lying to us. And she was confused about any of that. She didn't know any of that. She hadn't factored that into any of her research. So I didn't go on and expound on that. And that's when people typically resort to, oh, well, we don't want to speculate. But nonetheless, I was inspired to go talk with her. So yeah, that was fun visit. I had to wear the mask because it scares people when I'm coughing. Allergy coughs are not contagious, but nobody believes you. So yeah, that was Gerald and Sandra Tanner. My visit with Sandra. My one-on-one. And so, God. And they definitely made a contribution. That's undeniable. So let's stop arguing, ex-Mormons. Let's start putting all the pieces together and start creating the real story. Let's stop spreading the lies. You know, it's Nephi, not Moroni. You know, it's gold plates, not golden. We need to stick to the facts and the evidence that are given to us. And that will create the real picture when we put all the pieces together. So, please, let's work together, not against each other. Quit cancel culturing me and start working with me. Start listening to what I'm researching from you. Because Mormons, they love to point out, oh, well, Travis, Brother Hale, sold Joseph a tract of land in Harmony, Susquehanna River, north or south of Bainbridge, where he was arrested. And every time a Mormon does that, it fits into my theory test. And they don't get it because they don't use the theory test. They use fallacy argument. And so, yeah, when I realized that the document, it's not called Harmony. They purposely put Harmony on the document. And so he needs to publish the Book of Mormon. What's he doing paying, I think it was $2,000 or something like that, for land for a home, when he's got a Book of Mormon he's got to finish and publish? So hilarious. But Mormons, they don't see it. They think they've got me. And then I show, oh, nope, I got you. But thank you for bringing that to my attention and fitting with my theory. So that's how theory works, guys. Because I keep testing myself. When I come up with something new, find out something new, like the Wikipedia pages keeps getting changed, you know, I check the previous information with the new information and see which one is the lie and which one is telling the truth. And usually the one that's telling the truth reveals more about what was going on that Mormons don't want released. That's the thing, is Mormons keep releasing things that keeps getting the church in deeper and deeper trouble with their lies and cover-ups. So, fun stuff. So, Sandra is a legend.